very good day to you, and thanks for staying tuned to Television Nigerian. Now, information from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, at the close of Monday revealed that Nigeria recorded 245 new cases of the novel coronavirus in 16 states of the Federation, bringing the country's total infections to 2,803. Now, the country's total deaths from the virus now stands at 93, while 417 patients have recovered so far from the virus. Now, Lagos still leads the chart with 1,183 cases, followed by Kano with 365 cases and Abuja with 297 cases, while Anambra brings up the rear with just one reported case who has also recovered and been discharged, while Kogi and Cross River states have so far recorded no reports of the virus. Welcome to the COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. I am Charles Ibe. Let's take a quick break now and the program resumes in full. Join us again. Thanks for staying tuned. Now, I have with me in the Situation Room today Victor Tehemba. Victor?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon and welcome.
Yes, welcome. Even though I haven't really left.
Okay, yeah, welcome to today's Situation Room.
Definitely.
Yeah, what's the situation from, so yesterday it's a prison break for a lot of people. Nigerians are let loose after about 5 weeks of lockdown. So how did it all go?
Well, how did it go? It didn't go as expected. In fact, that's why if you basically look at the papers today, the government is worried, from the NCDC to the PTF to the federal government itself. They are basically worried that there has been so far disregard for the guidelines for the easing of the lockdown. And I didn't really know or understand how they thought that was going to work out in the first place in a country like Nigeria. We are very negligent of many things, and you leave the safety of the people into their very close observant of Nigerians and Nigerians itself.
Oh. So Nigerians are out.
Next 2 days, with what we saw in Abuja, Lagos especially, we might see an inflation in an increase in the number of confirmed cases in this state, because when they went out, when we saw people go out their premises and they were falling upon themselves, yeah, definitely, and then you see also large crowds at the bus stop trying to get into the buses, get vehicles and whatever, and just even where there was queue, and the markets that opened. I kept saying that I do not understand how you want to maintain social distancing in the market, especially in a less than cosmopolitan markets like the ones you have in Lagos, whichever of them that it is. And then the pictures we saw coming out from this Balogun market, it was a typical Balogun market on any other day. Wow. People rubbing shoulders, packed together, buses everywhere. So there was nothing.
Wow. So that means that 5 weeks out of under lockdown, Nigerians were not really getting into the real mood of, okay, we are under a pandemic. You are more like we are being suppressed, we are being held back. So that's, because I would have expected that people coming out, like when you are told that the enemy is outside the door and you are inside your house, if you are coming out, you're going to be cautious. You don't know whether it's on your right or the left or on top or on that. But Nigeria just went out like that. So does it mean all this while the informations are not really sunk in into their psyche that, this is real, a situation, and this is a life and death situation?
No, you see, let's just take for example, when a criminal is arrested, whether for robbery, for kidnapping, or whatever offense, and then he's sentenced to jail. Most of them come out without any sort of repentance. They come out and become more hardened in their criminal activities. So you now wonder that this person was sent to the prison as punishment, that you are being put here because of the crime you committed.
Yes.
So you shouldn't do that. But then they come out. So you find that maybe there is a fault with the prison system as at then before they change it to these correctional centers. Is it that do they just put what exactly happened that really make these people come out and become more hardened? So it's the same case with Nigerians. What to make Nigerians, after putting them under lockdown, to say we want to secure lives from this illness and contracting coronavirus, and at the end of the day they come out and they disregard the entire whole pandemic. In fact, they behave as if we have never had any case of coronavirus in Nigeria, like it does not exist in Nigeria. But we kept saying this, even before the whole this lockdown was lifted. When you talk to Nigerians on the street, they kept saying more the fact that let them leave the lockdown so that they can go out and hustle, they can go out and eat, they can go out and look for money to find to go and look for money to find what they can eat and everything. So it's more like at that time they were really tired of staying at home. So just like we said yesterday, if these people were already given the lesser palliative that they needed to survive, they would have basically have stayed at home, understood that the situation. But then when people came out at the end of the day, I was now basically wondering, most of them that went to the bank, the kind of crowd that went to the bank, I was surprised. Is it that they were making money while under this lockdown? Were they making money of any sort while under lockdown? Because immediately they lifted the lockdown, first point of call for most people, in fact, majority of them was at the banks. So like, what money were you going to get at the bank? Were you making money? I don't know, understand the situation, but then it's like Nigerians never really learned from it. So if had it been, maybe the decent palliatives were provided and every other thing that they needed, maybe they would have understood that it's a serious problem. Because most of them, when you ask them, they say the palliatives were not gotten to us, but then we keep hearing that money is this, money is that, perhaps people are embezzling it and all of that.
Oh, it's a very, very, very sad situation. But we are having a situation on our hands. The lockdown has been lifted. The ease, not just lifted, it was eased somehow. And what we got yesterday was actually very, very, very interesting. Well, we also have another person joining us in the situation room. Chukuma is in the situation room. He's a seasoned journalist and the convener of the Young Journalists Forum. So you're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
All right, like before you joined, we were talking about the situation of the lockdown that was eased yesterday in Abuja, in Ogun, and Lagos. I mean, you must have been out there and witnessed a lot of things happening in Nigeria. We saw crowds, we saw the people just not maintaining the social distancing. We saw a lot of guidelines that were given, not really followed. But we'll get to have your reaction after this quick break. Let's go on a quick break and we'll come back. The show continues. Stay tuned.
market and she dash Adamu. Adamu carry the virus run, come give him children for house. Now so the children carry the virus enter playground. From playground, it can't enter grandpa body. Grandpa take over, pass and give him friends as they shake hand for road. Now so grandpa friends carry coronavirus go their house. So before you know, they don't throw away and give everybody for yard. Now so corona enter box 18 and he say go! My people, if we give coronavirus chance, it go win all of us. Protect yourself and your family. Stay inside your house and make sure say you dey wash your hand with soap and water at least 12 times a day. If you get cough and fever and it dey hard you to breathe, call 0800 026 7662. Corona dey kill. Make we careful o.
I'm cool and baby.
You feeling that? You got your gloves on?
Alright, we good.
What's happening with it, bitch?
I'm cool and I'm trying to stay safe. I see green juice.
Tell them build that immune system, you heard?
Yeah, you know the mayor said we supposed to be inside right now.
Yo, the mayor?
We not important.
Shawty, what's good, y'all? Who that is?
I don't know that bud.
How y'all doing, man?
Hold on, put your mask.
Hey, man, what's good with y'all?
Hey, what's that? What you calling for, dog? What's going on?
You know what?
What you calling for?
You forgot some insider.
Where y'all going?
Stay right here.
Man, no, come right back. I got some questions.
1, 2.
Wow, shorty.
What's that, MD?
I'm cool and baby.
You feeling that? You got your gloves on?
Alright, we good.
What's happening with it, bitch?
I'm cool and I'm trying to stay safe. I see green juice.
Tell them build that immune system, you heard?
Yeah, you know the mayor said we supposed to be inside right now.
Yo, the mayor?
We not important.
Shawty, what's good, y'all? Who that is?
I don't know that bud.
How y'all doing, man?
Hold on, put your mask.
Hey, man, what's good with y'all?
Hey, what's that? What you calling for, dog? What's going on?
You know what?
What you calling for?
You forgot some insider.
Where y'all going?
Stay right here.
Man, no, come right back. I got some questions.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Bust it.
Remix.
I got them squirts for the low.
Remix.
I got them squirts for the low.
Thanks for joining us again. This is the Situation Room of Television Nigerian, where we're talking about coronavirus and the Nigerian situation. Now, however it is with you, you have an opportunity to join us in this conversation. You can call us in, the number is there on your screen, or you can go to the comment section and drop in your comments. Let us know how the ease of the lockdown affected you, affected your area, especially if you are in Abuja, if you are watching us in Lagos or Ogun State. And also you can call us from any part of Nigeria and tell us exactly what is going on in your location. Before we went for that break, I did introduce another guest in the house, Chukwumanze, the convener of the Young Journalists Forum. He joins the Situation Room today. Welcome again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so can you just give us your overview of this whole corona pandemic in Nigeria, how we went through the 5 weeks? I'm sure you were a keen observer. You were out there in the street, you interacted with people, and now the lockdown has eased. What do you really make of the whole thing in the summary?
Unfortunately, we are here, and we are in it together. This time there is no flights to the UK to get medication. We are at par at all classes of the society, and unfortunately, is a virus that we cannot see with our bare eyes, and it has taken a toll globally. So with the lockdown, we achieved a little, but I thought we would have gone further with a strategic easing of the lockdown. I don't think this is strategic enough. Okay. With the realities we saw yesterday, it's like when you lock inmates for a very long time and at the same time you release all of them together. That was how practically any human management expert would have known that would have been the response, because the banks were locked. There was a ban on check clearance for a very long time. So many people had checks that they wanted to clear, and you don't clear checks with the ATM. So these are realities, and so many people went through the hunger virus, as they call it, in quote. And challenging times, it was an opportunity to rebirth the world, or rebirth Nigeria, because we saw humans who had humanitarian values. Those who cooked at their places just to ensure their neighbors cooked, those who did the physical distribution of palliatives. It gave us a new meaning of ourselves. We've seen a new part of the country, but unfortunately we are yet to understand this virus. Even the DJ of the NCDC, Dr. Hekwazu, will say that as it evolves, we learn better. So, but over time, the much that has been garnered, what I think would have been our selling point as those who got the feel of the virus months after it has taken a toll in the West. I thought we would have learned from their own mistakes, taking a proper analysis of what happened, how it actually grew there, and unfortunately, we didn't lock our borders when we ought to.
That's on the government side.
Government side, yeah. That's I'm trying to do an analysis, a holistic one now, because it's government that sets the stage for the citizens. So unfortunately, we didn't start from there, but now it's inside, and the figures are rising on a daily basis, and we are yet to even have enough tests. So that's why you see people have now even had, they say, okay, since that we have recoveries, I might, we
can as well as get it.
Exactly, I will recover. So it's not something I should just go and fence myself and kill myself. So that is the orientation of the average Nigerian. But for that, for the Nigerian where we have majority, the below average Nigerians, most of them, they don't even appreciate what we are saying here. They just see it. Some have interacted with people who say it's a scam. The government is using it to collect money from international bodies. I've interacted with those who said, it is for the big men. They went abroad. I did not go to USA. I did not go anywhere. But they now forget the way it plays out. And that is where we need to engage ourselves. Because like I said initially, it's a thing it's a humanity thing. It's not a class thing now.
Yeah, it's not a political thing.
Exactly, it's not. So we need to, those who are more informed, we need to continue to engage. If you look at educational statistics, you find out that the pendulum swings low where we have more illiteracy, the illiterate people, and the virus does not know whether literate or illiterate. So, but they are most vulnerable. So we need to continue to engage people at the grassroots, to bring them to, especially those who are survivors, to come and tell their experiences, so that it will bring a real picture of the fact that this virus is real and now, it is close.
Recently it was in the news today that 40% of Nigerians are poor. I think it's a study from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics that 40% of Nigerians are poor. They'll just put it like that, poor, by whatever standard, world-class standard and all of that. And now, being poor, that's a huge number of millions of Nigerians.
That's 82.9 million.
82.9 million, that's huge. And then you have the situation of you locking down these millions of Nigerians somewhere. You didn't provide palliatives and all of that. So, like you did mention, hunger virus, poverty hanging around the corner, and then the whole situation of government not doing what they're supposed to do. And now we have a situation, every day the virus, we keep recording, the numbers keep increasing. At this stage, at this point, what should we be thinking actually? Government actually said they might revert back to lockdown again, total this time. But then, is that even a solution?
Well, it is still this part of the solution. Say trying to go back to impose the lockdown again, because presently the reason of the lockdown is not working, and this whole problem is actually compounded with the fact that the government did not take this pandemic serious. Like they had about 4 months ahead to prepare for the pandemic, but there at the same time when it finally came to Nigeria, we were caught snapping. And at the time that they reacted, and that basically started responding to the whole pandemic, they weren't doing it out of creativity, out of their own unique way of handling the matter. It was a kind of less than knee-jerk reaction, copying and pasting what was really happening in other countries. Is the reason why they imposed lockdown on a Monday. By Tuesday, they were already in a quality sharing 20,000 naira as less than palliative. People had not spent 24 hours on that lockdown for you to determine whether it's going to be hard on them or not. So it was more like what the less and business people would say, you were eating your future in the now. And so when it now got to where it was now biting the people, they couldn't really handle the whole situation. So I think at the point it got where the government ran out of ideas, options, and then they didn't know exactly what to do. So the best thing was, like, since they were under pressure to ease the lockdown so that people can go about, they thought, okay, we can do this. So I think as now...
And you did mention one of those citizens that the government just say it is now you and the virus.
Yes, definitely. It is not, but at the same time, as much as they want that to happen, because when you look at everything that happened, including the guidelines that were given out and everything, you won't really find anybody that was really particular about enforcing those guidelines. And that's why people went ahead to disregard the guidelines as much as they want, and they know basically nothing will happen. So even if you want to begin to punish people with what we saw yesterday, how many people do you want to arrest, punish, or convict for whatever? Even if you have a place you're going to keep them, the place is definitely going to be overwhelmed for whatever reason. So going back to lockdown might just be a solution at the moment until government is able to think about something better.
Now, can we just briefly look at the issue of Kano? Kano has become a reference point. Even though Lagos has 1,100 and something cases, Kano with just about 300 or thereabout appears to be more. It's the center. It's more like the epicenter now, because the way deaths are occurring in Kano is far more alarming than what we recorded in Lagos. And we now saw a case of a neighboring state, Jigawa. Yesterday they announced by 100 mysterious deaths, not yet confirmed whether it's COVID-19, but could as well be COVID-19, because finally they said most of those deaths in Kano was COVID-19, and then we have a neighboring state of Jigawa recording the same issue. What should Nigerians now be doing at this time? What do you think?
For me, like I said earlier, it's for us to engage our people. Ironically, global statistics gives the northern population, the northern Nigerians, as where you have prevalently less educated Nigerians. So those who are educated, the few ones, like I said initially, it's not about education, but it's about vulnerability. Those who are less educated are most vulnerable. So they will have to engage, and that's why you see it's taking its sweep, because in Africa we live a communal life. In the north they live more communal.
Yes.
They eat together, they stay together, and these are the dons for coronavirus. You don't eat together, you don't stay together, you observe these distances, you cover yourself up. So until we start engaging them practically on the realities of where we found ourselves, we will not get them. And this it's a you and I thing. It's a you and I thing. If you observe the instructions and I observe them, it means that we would have caged the virus, because the essence of the virus, the essence of the virus, why it's growing is because when it gets anywhere, the human factor carries it to a different
Exactly.
location and it continues to spread. So, but when we observe the washing of hands, the using of face
The
masks,
face masks.
we would have caged it. And we would have
And
killed
even as at that, now there are still some factors that will still aid the spread of this. Even when you wash your hands, even when you put on your nose mask, how do you even wash your hands? It's not when you have water. Then you look at the hinterlands we talked about. What access to water do they have? Some might just be streams, and everybody goes to that stream to fetch, to do water, then contaminating the stream, and you are taking it again to wash your hands. So what are we talking about? So I mean, there are infrastructure deficits to it. There are the health facilities are not there. I mean, it's the whole, and then this issue also of Almajiris, that the governor started deportation of Almajiris. I don't know. What was their thinking? Was it a wise move, or do you think it was a solution in this part that maybe must have gone wrong?
For me, it's a solution implemented at the wrong time. The Almajiri has, in fact, it was security experts were saying it's one of the breeding ground for the insurgency we are experiencing in the north, because these children just grow up in the streets. They are less taken care of. They only taught Islamic education. Taking them away at this time was wrong, because this is a time where we are managing crowd. I was watching the TV. I was seeing how they were clustering them into trucks, into buses. And you say, so it means as we're setting double standard, we are saying we are fighting this thing and we are setting the wrong standard for how to overcome it. So for me, I think taking them out would have been wonderful. Go back to your state, stay with your parents, let the governors see how they can assist them to become useful to the society, but not at this time when we are managing a microorganism that we cannot
see. And now, looking at the fact that they actually had to be moved, isn't it like a good thing that they were actually moved? Because if they had been allowed to stay where they are, probably nobody would have thought about testing them, because now they said about 50 or thereabout that moved from Kano to Kaduna had it because they were tested. Now a lot of people, normal people, have not even been tested. Not to talk about going to think about Almajiri. So if they weren't actually picked out, they would have been in wherever they are, carrying this disease, spreading it even more. So don't you think it's more like a blessing in disguise somehow?
No, I don't think. If you had actually come up with the thoughts of moving these Almajiris from one state to another state, you could, the same way you have gathered them to pack them into lorries and trucks to disinfect and transport them, you could also do the testing there. Now the thing is, whatever the case may be, they also have some sort of kind of economic importance to the state, because if they are there and then they beg for arms or whatever money they make from that state, they still spend most of it in the state, so they still keep the economy going. They are also still part of your people, your responsibility.
Do they have economic value?
Let me just say, have you read the book Life and Beggar Strike?
Anyway, actually.
So no, they do, because even if they beg for arms and you give them money, they still spend the money back into the society. Maybe not all, because they still have to travel away some. But then at this critical time, we're looking at saying, if people don't move, the virus would move. And then you have a feeling, you have a gut feeling that these people need to be moved. They might be carriers of this virus. All you needed to do, in order not to exacerbate the situation, why not do the testing
before you move them?
Yes, either before you move them or just find a way to contact. Because like I said earlier one time here, if you can locate them, it means you can organize them. So you don't really need to move them. So you can do the testing, organize them, and then where he talks about that engagement now, that kind of engagement now comes in. These are people that now you really have to even kind of take their own issue of feeding and whatever it is very serious, so that you know that they don't have a reason to go out for whatever. So moving them from one state to another state is like, these are your responsibility, and then you don't care. And this was what I said, like you said, when they are moving them, they pack them clustered in lorries and trucks and buses, whatever it is. That is from the part of government. disregarding social distancing. People see this. They might not exactly take mental note of it, but it has registered that if the government itself can disregard it, then it means there's nothing really serious about it, per se. So it's good like that, and we actually go to less and conspiracy theories. This is one of the reasons why people say it's not real. They say, if it were real, why didn't you see how this government behaved? Can't you see how they did this? So it means it's not real, whatever it is.
But governors came out to say I was infected. You saw big men coming out to say they were infected.
Yeah.
Come out and they are well again. But is it because he didn't kill most of them? Then that's why he added to the.
Yeah, maybe this is perhaps basically. But then sometimes even when the facts are there in the face of people, they will still want to believe what they want to believe.
And then looking at the palliatives now, especially, I think it would have made sense. Someone was saying it would have made a lot of sense if, while on lockdown, the palliatives were going round. Mm-hmm. It was well planned. People wouldn't have even bothered coming out.
Yeah, exactly. People would have come out
because of the hunger that was biting inside. Everybody wanted to go outside, and then going outside is now likely like going to meet the enemy, unarmed. Because I don't know. So before we go on a break, what should the government be doing right now? Right now, like we talked about fumigating. We talked about putting in place sanitary measures. Like we talked about now, access to water and all of that. I've not heard about any of those plans. Just like, okay, people should just go out, maintain this, maintain that. What really should the government have put in place? I will talk about millions that have been invested in the fight against this coronavirus. Perhaps after when it's all said and done, some people might have a lot of explanations to do. What do you think?
For me, I think at this point, government needs to re-strategize because the realities of yesterday, easing up the lockdown, has shown that the strategy has not really worked. And that was why the presidential task force was talking about going back to a total lockdown. What we need is a strategic easing, class by class. Those who are, classify the economy and let a class of the economy start. And once that class starts going to the work, let's say, for instance, journalists have been on the duty going to cover both the PTF and palliative distribution and all that. That class has been true to the...
They've always been...
Exactly. We've been true to the directives of social distancing and all that. So you can add another class, maybe the banking sector, for a start, and you give them, if you don't have, ahead of time, they say, okay, on this date, we are going to attend to only those who have checks issues.
Okay.
So that those who do not even have checks to clear will not even
bother
step
going
out.
there.
Then if that works, you continue to expand until consciously you carry everybody along to know that this thing is not, we are not doing it because we want to favor somebody before the other, but we just want to carry people along gradually, because Nigeria is the most populated country in Africa. And if we don't manage, in fact, our population is more in these places. You talked about Kano, Lagos, look at Abuja. You understand? These are where we have, of these three locations. In Lagos, we have more refined citizenry. In Abuja, we have more refined citizenry. We have a lesser number of the refined citizenry in Kano State. And that is why it was there, they never knew. It was there, they never knew. It was until it started to play out. And consciously, people did not present themselves, haven't listening to the sensitization to say, these are the things you should look out for. They would have seen these things, but most times when that emotions comes to play, or sentiments of family and all that relation comes to play, you don't want to expose your own. So, but these are things like the man who chased his son away in Ekiti State. The guy is really an ambassador, because he has not said you are not my son. He said, where are you coming from? You're coming from Lagos. So I cannot allow you. And he knows he's, as an elderly man, he's more vulnerable. The young man might survive it and he will not survive it. So, but we are laughing at these things because we never thought about it, but ironically it's here to stay. And if we don't face it headlong, it would take its toll on our economy and on our people.
All right, now when you were just talking, something keep ringing: information management, and one key sector about that information management, journalists. So you are here, we're going to talk about that, but not right now. Victor, before we go on this break, now what would you have to tell government specifically right now? Like, okay, look at the president in the eye. I mean, you are actually advocating for more extension. You are saying, no, don't leave this thing, let it go. And now we've lifted it and look at what we are seeing right now. Would you join the wagon of those say, clamp down again and let it be total? Or what are you going to advocate for now?
Okay, I will basically borrow from what he has also said. So I will advocate that we should have a total lockdown and then begin that gradual process of phase by phase easing of the lockdown, sector by sector. You have to classify just like he said, and I think that's just a very brilliant way to go about it. There is no other way. I think if it is done, or if it were done in that manner, people will really basically understand. So that you don't need to open it all at once for everybody to go. And
that's also like we all consigned the issue of palliatives to the dustbin, not even think about it.
Because we know it's not going to happen, so we shouldn't worry about that.
It has been tested and it did not work. It has been tested, it did not work.
Well, let's see what they come up with. The PTF, they've said if, and then the deaths keep increasing, 2,800, just some few figures shy of 3,000. And I mean, it's not
and over 90-something
deaths.
And perhaps maybe to also add to that, no other measures will also include that they should begin to provide these less than sanitary things towards, like at the very first week that he got to less than Rwanda, for example, in their capital, what they did was to set up pumping tap water around with soap, whatever. So just around the city. So wherever you are, you are washing. Even at the bus stop, before you enter the bus, whatever, you need to wash your hands. So those are just measures that provide. And also good that this government say all business places must have water and soap, so that their clients who come in, go out must wash their hands before they come in, all of that. So I think that might just be this measure as well.
Yeah, and also let government also think, even this wash hand thing, you mentioned tap, and I saw one of these local areas that they use this hand pump machine. And they said the virus lives on surfaces. Okay, I pump the water and I take it, I wash my hand, and I have to pump again for it to stop. I will take the one that I've washed it out already, and then to close the tap again. I will not collect the one and I walk away.
No, but the thing is, there is this education about it. There could basically be a notice there. You could also teach people videos, adverts, whatever. Teach people how to do it. That by the time you are done washing your hands, you also use part of that water to wash the faucet, so that by the time you are done, then you can easily.
You would have disinfected.
All right. Yes. Okay, we have measures, solutions. That's what we're actually looking at right now. Preferring solutions, giving our own bit to what government can do to ensure that whatever this measure they put in is effective. Like we've seen lockdown, it didn't really work out very well. We've seen the ease of the lockdown, and we're also complaining. So whatever is the final resolution, let's hope it's all for the best. Now let's get to the streets. Because correspondent Peggy Shandy monitored some of the situations in Abuja yesterday about the lockdown. Let's see what he has coming from the streets of Abuja.
As the federal government relaxes the 5 weeks lockdown, major streets within the FCT are partially opening, with commercial activities gradually picking up. This is in line with the directive issued by the federal government to relax the total lockdown, which lasted for not less than 5 weeks, to impose a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. However, as the cases of COVID-19 continue to rise in Nigeria, there are fears of a possible reintroduction of another lockdown exercise to curtail community spread of the COVID-19 virus when people finally return to normal life.
Nigeria government, but they cannot keep to their work. They are disgrace to humanity. You see, American government, when they ask their citizens to sit at home, they give them everything they want. But since this lockdown of 18 in Nigeria here, brother, the palliative that they say they are sharing, but even the dog in my house cannot eat it.
Yeah, in fact, the media has been on the forefront. There has been a lot of sensitization about how the partial lockdown is going to be. It has been spelled out those who are supposed to come out, those who have business to do. You know, like the construction company, like the essential staffs and other things. But unfortunately, the street was just jam-packed, and the drivers, being that they have been at home for quite some time, they don't have money with them. So all the restrictions that are supposed to be respected by the way the passengers will be carried was highly abused.
But I didn't see anything relaxing down because we came in masses. Maybe they have opened source of markets for people to come across and do some business to sustain themselves. But as people feed up here this morning, but some government, soldiers, and police, Air Force was here, molesting some people to live here, or else they will deal with them. You know, some people taking off running from where another. You see some people that remain there. It's people that, you know, they say, I can't go because I have no money, no food, nothing to eat along, you know.
Was the place actually relaxed? What's exactly going on right here?
Honestly speaking, I cannot say there's any relaxation anywhere. This morning, by the time I get here, I met some joint task force, DSS and police officials. They're asking us to go home, go home. So I want to know, is it Buhari that is ruling us, or is those security men that is ruling us? Because Buhari asked us to come outside to fend for ourselves. We know they cannot help us. We have handwork that used to give us money for us to survive, okay? Look at me. They say we should come out with face masks and what is it called? All these hand gloves. I got them with my savings money. It's not government that provided it for me. I have to pay transport down here because I don't have car that will drive here. Now I do not earn any dime.
Me, I don't really know maybe if our president is working or is working for the government, or the government is working for the police. Because it seems the police now are the rulers of the country. We come here this morning now, the way they chased us, like maybe we are not even a citizen of the country, we don't know anything about the government. At least the president said on the 4th of May, we can come out, do one or two, give us time. But what we saw this morning is not impressing at all. The way the police and DSS chased us. I'm here with my tools now. I came here since morning, paid transport from Giri to this place. I've not even had a dime since morning. I've not done anything, don't even have a way going back home. It's not really impressive.
The government has relaxed the lockdown. We have been at home for so long because of coronavirus. How do you look at it today?
Yes, we look at it as a development. Although the government are not doing the right thing to the common man, but we find it so easy one way or the other, because we are not going to rely on government, all of us. We need to take action on ourselves so that everybody will prevent himself to this virus.
There is nothing like realization of lockdown around here. All the plazas are still closed. There's no business going on. Movements are still restricted. Business is not going on. People are only doing street business for them to survive. So the relaxation of lockdown still doesn't have any effect within this area for now. So we don't know what will happen next. But for now, there's no means for survival now. That's to eat. Most people can't afford even 2 square meals.
These are the reactions and the true revelations and true reflections of how Nigerians feel. Please drop a comment. Peggy Shande, TVN.
Now the match don't start. Tunde na him first catch coronavirus. Him pass am to Sarah. Sarah go market and she dash Adamu. Adamu carry the virus run, come give him children for house. Now so the children carry the virus enter playground. From playground, it can't enter grandpa body. Grandpa take over, pass and give him friends as they shake hand for road. Now so grandpa friends carry coronavirus go their house. Before you know, they don't throw away and give everybody for yard. Now so corona enter box 18 and he say go! My people, if we give coronavirus chance, it go win all of us. Protect yourself and your family. Stay inside your house and make sure say you dey wash your hand with soap and water at least 12 times a day. If you get cough and fever and it dey hard you to breathe, call 0800 026 7662. Corona dey kill. Make we careful.
Thanks for joining us again. It is the Situation Room of Television Nigerian, and we are talking everything coronavirus. Now, moving on, concerned Nigerians have intensified pressure on the House of Representatives, even as it appeared poised to pass the controversial Control of Infectious Diseases Bill 2020. Now, many have raised questions as why the proposed legislation is coming as Nigeria battles the coronavirus pandemic, wondering why the country is exploring the prospect of forcing parents to vaccinate their children at birth, when Western nations and China, where the disease originated from, have not done so. And there are also insinuations that the sponsors of the bill might be aiming to satisfy foreign interests to the detriment of Nigerians. And the Control of Infectious Disease Bill 2020 was sponsored by Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, the Chairman of the House Committee on Health Institutions, Pascal Obi, and the Chairman of the House Committee on Health Services, Tanko Sanunu. And the bill, which scaled second reading during an emergency session last week, seeks to repeal the Quarantine Act 2004. Now, Infectious Diseases Control Bill. Let me just start. What is the hula balloon all about? It appears government wants to do something, reacting to, in case there's a vaccine, so that there's a lot of people who talk about constitutionality of this act or whatever. Let me start. What is this bill all about?
The bill, basically, what it's all about is that it is a danger to our democracy.
Really?
Yes, basically, it's a bill that has that will set us many years back to the time of when we were under this military rule, and for the fact that the bill is not original in the first place, and there's something I've even come to notice, like when you even look at the social media bill that came out that was being debated hotly last year, you find out that it was kind of harsh. Had some kind of clauses that people consider to be less and to be too hard in a democracy per se. And then when you now discover something about that bill was actually copied from another country. The same country.
Even the same social media bill was copied too.
Yes. So which it is the same country where this particular bill was copied from less than Singapore. Maybe because we like to compare ourselves to Singapore a lot, so our lawmakers decided to also adopt their outdated laws and bringing them into Nigeria. So basically, it's a bill that is at the detriment of all Nigerians and at the also detriment of Nigerians' democracy, because it's a bill that concentrated so much powers in the hands of a DG, Director General, and the Health Minister. So it's just not a bill that we can even contemplate having in Nigeria.
Okay, Chuguma, I know you must have studied that bill. What is your take on it generally?
For me, I would not generally say it should be thrown away. I think those articles that or the sections that gives sweeping powers to the DG should be rejigged. They should have a third party. It should not be a one-man show. Like, for instance, where the bill talks about having somebody taking up somebody and ensuring the person is vaccinated or isolate the person. I think that goes against the human rights that is enshrined in the Constitution. So for you to have those kind of powers, like we have the judiciary, where you can go and get an ex parte motion to ensure that, so that the court would have seen the reasons why you want to, that is the third party now, would have seen the reasons why you want to quarantine this person or isolate him or vaccinate him, that it is now the court that will now confirm that this person is a threat to the society, not the individual, who most times are politicians, who we know the kind of interest that our politicians have been wielding, and over the years it has not ultimately favored the masses, so they can use it as a political tool against a political opponent and say, yeah, we've seen it play out in other bills that have come. So some sections of the bill, are okay. But those sections where the DG gets overriding powers to take certain decisions independently, there should be no independent powers. Those powers should be able to be confirmed by a third party.
This bill seeks to set aside the 2004 Quarantine Act. And you know that it was based on that 2004 that the president derived the power to declare lockdown. And a lot of people questioned why does he even have to do that. You remember some lawyers, there were a lot of opinions on all of that. Now we are bringing in this. And actually some pointed out that the speed of which it was getting an attention, I mean, at an emergency session passed the first and second, and in fact, I think they are supposed to also discuss on it today.
Yes.
Maybe by now it must have also become, they must have passed it.
Yeah.
You understand? So now, is it that people are being circumspect about the attention that bill is getting? And I'm talking about the details, like you guys have pointed out, giving so much powers. Don't they know enough that these things are undemocratic and the lawmakers and they are going ahead with it?
So that is where even the big issue lies. Now the thing is, it does not only give sweeping powers to the DG, it also gave powers to some public health officials and also police. And the reason why I brought out my device was maybe I can take time to read some few excerpts of the bill that gave powers to the police as well. So here in section 24 of this particular act, it said, this bill, it said the police officers have the power to apprehend and take anyone in public location who is suffering from infection disease. Now the thing is, at that point, police are not trained doctors.
Exactly.
So how do you identify that this person is in? And then it goes further where it also says that, in fact, in section 55, it's an attack on we journalists, because here it means the DG can order an invasion of your office premises and order for whatever you have, books, documents you have, and they should be taken. They also go further in 56, where it also gives powers to the police to arrest anybody without warrants.
Wow.
As long as they believe, they have this belief that you are exposed or you're a carrier of the disease. And that's where what he said about these people being used for less than political tools becomes an issue, because one of the powers that was given to the DG from this bill also includes that the DG can dismiss any meeting, he can stop any meeting from holding. So basically we can have a DG and he can ask you to not hold your meeting for not more than 14 days. He also has the power to renew that order. So during the less than political terrain, whatever, since it's for this government, he can ask the other people not to hold any whatever gathering for 14 days. And once that one has elapsed, he can order for another for 14 days until we know that these guys don't get to campaign any less than meaningful campaign, and then we go into the election and then we basically lose that. So most of the powers here is the reason why I will not subscribe that some section of the bill for whatever reason. Well, I believe that there's sometimes there's nothing really wrong in getting to copy a bill, but one thing they also fail to realize is that the bill was actually, the act was passed in Singapore in 1977 and it was amended in 2009, but our lawmaker chose to copy a bill
of 1977, not the
amended version. And when you're going to copy a bill because you think this is what your country needs at this time, the best thing is to do, like, you go through that bill and then you edit it to suit your own country's responsibility. Yes, realities. But I think basically what they did was just change where there was less than Singapore and put Nigeria. in the list of Singapore Act, they used director, not director general. So wherever they saw director, the next thing they put general at the front, and then the bill just came in photocopy like that. So much power is given to the police, so much power given to the DG. Is the reason why I said it's a danger to democracy. The only way we can work with that bill is if they had to go back, revise it, and then let it suit our own realities, with considering that we are working in democracy. That bill, when it was passed, it was when less than Singapore, we are under a very fierce less than dictatorship under this in Kwame Yu. And exactly. So you can't want to operate the decree 4 of 1983-85 in
2020.
Yes, it's not going to work.
Now, there is a lot of interest groups have risen totally condemning this bill. It's a bill, right?
Yes, a bill.
But then, isn't it supposed to go through the whole processes of before it actually becomes a law or what they're about, public hearings and all of that. Are we not expecting things like that?
So the interesting thing is the speaker said that it is not compulsory that the House must conduct a public hearing before a bill is passed. So that's a danger on the bill itself. But then there is hope, because even if the House of Rep passes the bill today, it will still have to be passed by the Senate.
But looking at how Nigeria runs politically and all of that, isn't it possible that what the lower house has passed, given the majority, because if it comes to aye and nay, we know how it's going to go. And it also comes to the upper house, party line.
There's a litigation already. Dino Milaye went to court yesterday to stop, to sue the speaker for proposing that bill. So, and he claims that it's going to be injurious to himself. And as a Nigerian,
he has that right.
He has the right. So, I doubt if the bill will see the light of the day. The way it is presently. There are some sections of the bill, the sections who talks about ensuring that managing the disease control properly. But these sections that, like he has identified, where one man takes the decision that affects another individual's life. It has, in a democracy, it was never contemplated like that. Even the draftsmen of our constitutions, they always bring in a third party, and that's why we have 3 tiers of government, unlike the military time where it's just one man running the whole show. So our legislators also have to bring that into play when they are taking decisions for the people. And who said there must be no public hearing? There should be public hearing. If you are going to take a decision that concerns me, if you're going to take a decision that concerns me, you should also hear my opinion.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So we yesterday the judiciary had a digital judgment where they held meetings, and it was a huge success because they all met online and it was unprecedented. But the success of what they wanted to achieve was achieved. So who said the legislators cannot do same? Get our civil societies to be on the platform and get professional experts, because you cannot. For me, the speaker, give him, in as much as I appreciate his capacity, he's not a medical doctor, he's not an expert, so he cannot come and say this bill must be forced on us. And it's so sad that we still live in a country where given the fact that our legislators are one of the most paid in the world, we still go and lift. I'm yet to confirm that root, line and sinker a document from another country without just.
They didn't know. They didn't know that there was a.
Can I just
No, I'm not doubting it, but I'm yet to confirm it. But it has been done before. It has been done before, like the hate speech bill. So that's why I'm going to speak against it, even if I'll lay my emphasis on the hate speech bill and this one, as he has said. It is so sad. We should be able to identify how you have localized it to suit us. Exactly. Those are the selling points that you should sell the bill to the Nigerians, so that they will see that those our cultural differences between where you lifted it have been captured into and that is why you are a representative, because we believe you understand our culture, you understand the feelings of our people, and you should be able to speak about us in the public. So if you cannot speak about us and you leave the people from a foreign country who might have been dead now, if you said it's 79, who might have taken those decisions for us, who do not know the realities of the present day, to take decision for living people. It is so sad and it's unfortunate for our legislature.
Well, so sad and so unfortunate that our legislators are lifting. We've had so much coming from the legislature, padding, now lifting, and a lot of terminologies coming out from that. And well, let's hope that the next decision they take, they should remember that there is a Victor Tehemba somewhere who is going to look beyond whatever they are trying to do and find out the root cause. So now the onus should be getting Nigerian solutions to Nigerian problems. Even if the problem is imported, we should have a Nigerian solution to it. Just like we're talking about drugs and solutions to COVID-19. Madagascar has an indigenous something that they're even now exporting to other countries. What have Nigerians gotten? I think yesterday we spoke about one herbal home thereabout, and also in the news the DG NAFDA came out to debunk that they never went into any agreement with anybody to do stuff. So that they only asked them to go ahead, and it has not been verified and all of that. And one begins to wonder, well,
the truth is, until we appreciate what we have,
yes,
over the years, the average Nigerian that has, in fact, our young people who had potentials, innovative young men who go out of their way to innovate things that sane government in sane climes would see and say, wow, let's cash into this and develop it and make money from it. But in Nigeria, it is seen, and instead that chapter is closed. So we should now, at this time, because COVID-19 has changed the world, not only Nigeria. Yes. So let that change be fundamental, let it be deep. And this like, Professor Morrissey, who also said he has, this is an academic professor who has studied, has done researches, and has come out with a product. And he's not just any professor. He's a professor that has been the INEC president, INEC chairman, who has understood how government is run. And he has proposed something. You have not criticized it for not having the substances he said he has. Neither have you done that. So I think we should look into those who say they have solution. We have presidential task force. A task force is sharp.
Exactly.
Immediately you hear there's a solution in this place, you send people there.
Yeah, try
get a subcommittee of the task force that is made up of experts who understand how these things work, and let them go and engage the people and come out with a report. We have never seen any of those reports. That
but all you just see, they just keep.
They don't say no, it has not been approved by World Health Organization. Who will? It is Nigeria that is the member of that is signatory to the World Health Organization treaty. So it is Nigeria that should identify the product and market it as its product.
And because take it to the world
exactly. It is Nigerians that have developed this. They are not government that will take it to World Health Organization. So it goes to say that we are here to learn from our mistakes, and going forward with the realities of COVID-19. If we don't start early, the figures will continue to improve. The plan to straighten the curve will be very difficult to achieve. And the earlier we start planning strategically, the better for us.
All right. You want to add something?
What was I going to even say? I think I forgot what I was going to say. But then I just want to say that last year, for example, we were at a meeting at Transcorp, and then there was this lesson diplomat. She's actually a recent career diplomat. And after discussion, she was expressing this sort of sadness that Nigeria wasn't leading. Nigeria is not having that regional leadership that we used to have, that we were used to know for.
The giant of Africa.
Yes, that's when sometimes when you have like less than President Obasanjo, that it goes into the AU, ECOWAS, and bust things up and whatever. So, but now we are no longer in that place. So we can't be waiting on the WHO. Macky Sall, you will say small Senegal of 30-something million people. The lesson president said World Health Organization cannot tell us how to take care of our people. If chloroquine is working for our people, that is what we are going to use.
Exactly.
Even the World Health that is saying it has not been confirmed that it can get, but say it's working for us. Yes. And then you can't come and tell us what to use or what not to use. And then why Nigeria is basically ignoring whatever we can do. If the government is to begin to harness these potentials or the ability of people to come with solution, what we have is that at the end of the day, this lockdown will not even be an issue. People just be like, okay, once I have the virus, I just go there and buy tablets. It will simply become something that you can get across the counter at any pharmacy or chemist shop that you can go to. So I don't know. It's basically
at that point we would have demystified whoever initiated this process, because and the person who hide his face in shame, and that is the essence of our coming together to fight this war.
All right, so just to add to what you guys have just postulated, it is time enough that we begin to think home. think home.
Yeah.
I think home. I mean, it's one of the realities.
Long overdue.
It's one of the realities that COVID-19 brought. And I was beginning to. We've spoken about this thing severally here. That this is an opportunity for us to even before now. China gives us even toothpick. China gives us tissue paper. China gives us pencil. China gives us everything. You talk about India giving, and I mean, this is an opportunity for homegrown industries. How do they even make this? And we have talented, we have, gifted, we have qualified Nigerians who can do this. Let's begin to think home. Let's begin to build our economy. Let's begin to depend less. Now, China, they brought 14 doctors. I don't know confirm what is going on with them. They are the ones building our roads. They are the ones building our bridges. They're the ones building our everything. What happens to our engineers? What happens to our homegrown? Where are our homegrown? What do they call them? Construction companies. These are the times to begin to go back. Government to go back to the drawing board. Where are all those moribund industries? All these monies they are taking loads. Revamp them and put in the local technologies. Let's build things for ourselves. Let's begin to do our own toothpick. Let's begin to do our own tissue paper. From there we are going to go places.
But then again, do you know the most difficult question now for any Nigerian to even answer? It's what's up with Nigeria after this
COVID-19? That is it.
Yes, because basically we are not seeing anything. We are not seeing any sort of
post-COVID. How
so
because the economy going to?
You expect that, like you said, that this COVID-19 has opened our eyes to many things, and then we're supposed to begin to take advantage of so many opportunities. But we aren't taking advantage of opportunities. If we weren't paying attention to science and technology before, now it would have been a very good time to say, let us begin to pay attention, let us sponsor some research, let us fund some research, and let's whatever. If we're not taking all this innovation stuff, this would have been the time. But then the thing is, we're not doing anything. We are still the Nigeria of this COVID-19. When we get hooked, we just run to the IMF, World Bank, or whoever it is that can borrow us money.
Borrowing, and we keep borrowing. Well, let's hope somebody somewhere is listening to what we are saying and start implementing. And the time is now, not tomorrow, not later. Let's take a break. I will come back some more on the COVID-19 situation. Join us again.
Coronavirus is a danger disease, we can fight it and win. Coronavirus is a danger disease, we can fight it and win. Wash your hands every time, don't ever shake hands. Stay away from mammals, they can cause infection. Stop again, we can chase it away. Oh, we can make it. Yeah, we can chase it away. Oh, we can make it. Yeah, we can chase it away. Coronavirus is a danger disease, we can fight it and win. Coronavirus is a danger disease,
Don't panic, we've got this.
Thanks for joining us again. It's COVID-19 Situation Room. In case you're joining us, we've been talking everything coronavirus. Now, the World Press Freedom Day is a day planned and promoted by United Nations and observed annually on May 3rd of every year to celebrate this important category of people known as journalists. Now, they are the fourth estate of the realm, and all they do is take information from the source and take it right out to the whole world for them to listen. And they've been doing a wonderful job. And now we have to look at, since this COVID-19 started, especially in the Nigerian situation, how has the Nigerian press actually handled the situation? Now, the president, the recent, I think in a speech to mark the World Press Freedom Day, which was celebrated on the 3rd of May, that was on Sunday, he did mention that more fake news and more, in fact, he wasn't very, very happy for the fact that a lot of fake news, a lot of these negative stories are out there being propagated in the media, and also talked about the issue of unregulated use of the social media and all of that. Now we have you here, the convener of the Young Journalist Forum, and also we have another journalist here also. So how has the media actually handled the dissemination of information, especially with regards to the COVID-19 situation?
Over the years, the success so far recorded as for Nigeria as a present democracy was built on the successes of the media. The media, Nigeria, in fact, the world owed the media so much, especially Nigeria, for the agitations that the media had done over the years, going through difficult times to reveal secret information that has made Nigeria liberate itself from the shackles of the military. And today, unfortunately, democracy has not so smiled on the media. The media is one of the worst hits as far as governance is concerned in Nigeria. But amidst that, the media has proved itself to be resilient. And if you watch the COVID-19 reportage, you will find out that the media has not relented. At every day, the meeting of the Presidential Task Force and the meeting of the State Task Force, there are media coverages disseminating information to Nigerians and to the grassroots. So the media has not failed in its responsibility. It is what I would say is even government that has failed in the responsibility of supporting the media, and that is what has created the room for fake news. Because if there is no so much greed in the air, there will be less fake news. There is so much greed that the political class has over the years shown that they want all, winner takes it all, they want all to themselves and nothing for the others. So if there is a balance between the distribution of wealth, you find that there will be less fake news. Fake news is bad. We abhor it in the media space. There is no boss that will promote anybody that does fake news. You kill the reputation of the organization. No boss would appreciate that. But so far, the media, the recognized credible media outfit has been, over the years, resilient, and they have shown that they can weather through the storm, even with the odds on ground, COVID-19 and all further.
You talked about the credible, recognized media, and then we'll talk about the social media. So new media, conventional media, contemporary media, you can call it anything. Everybody now is a media person. Bloggers, Facebookers, YouTubers, there are a lot of bars and all of that, every other place. And these are the people giving the media a real bad name. Now, what do you think? Is there any way of separating all of this? Where should people actually look up to for information? Because right now it appears the conventional media is not being, they are not reaching out, and a lot of unconventional media are coming in to support what they are doing in terms of bringing information more handy. You can just sit in your room, see something, video it, and upload on your blog or your distance. By the time you would have taken an NTA hours to drive to that place, you've already covered it and you've blown it, and it has somehow given rise to fake news and all of that. So how do we begin to handle this situation?
Well, in the first place, when you were speaking, my mind was asking, so what exactly is fake news? Because when you look at fake news in itself, it's just you putting out wrong information. You're not misinforming people. You're putting out wrong information with a malicious intent. You know exactly why you're putting out this wrong information. But then, so journalists don't do that. Journalists that work, we don't do that. The very much you can get will be misinformation, which is actually done innocently, perhaps from an error that maybe might occur, which most times we are seeing that media houses come out to apologize for those one. So government cannot even really look to journalists to say about fake news, because journalists don't even engage in fake news.
Those are not fake news.
Yeah. So yeah, and then when you now look at fake news exactly, it is the politicians, like I said, it is the desperate politicians and the government themselves that actually sponsor fake news.
Okay, against each other.
Against each other. We have seen it several times that even coming from the government quarters, there have been misinformation with a direct intent to really mislead the people to believe otherwise of what is happening. And then there are other people really are able to create the division. You know, there are some information that comes out, as much as they're handy, they fly quickly. Some people read it and then they'll say, where is it from? They first of all look at the medium where it is coming from.
Yeah.
If it's not from a less than recognized medium or link,
they
want to wait. So what news is flying about, as long as they have not read it from the prominent media houses that they know and they respect, they will never take that news serious until when they believe that, okay, I'm not seeing it on this newspaper, I'm seeing it on this TV station, but as long as any other blog. So talking about the fake news, it's very easy for government to basically contain. People that mostly engage in fake news are social media users, and these are the people that the government and politicians use for their own last and propaganda. Whatever it is, the fake news that people even really talk about here in this country, Nigeria, was started, engineered, orchestrated by the same politicians, some of whom are in this government today already.
Now, when they said if you don't have anything to hide, then you will not be, you're not afraid of anything. So it appears there is so much government or whoever do not want the public to know, and given the way the media penetrates. Like if you ask me, I'm not saying, I don't think the National Assembly would have been so happy that you had to go and investigate that they copied. You understand? They thought they were doing a great job, and then somebody is now coming up to say, no, it's actually you didn't do it, you copied. So they will want to look at it like fake news and try to do everything possible to classify it at that. But you have the freedom of information to see it and say it as it is. So how does it now, when you talk about press freedom, I'm looking at what we have in Nigeria, put it side by side by the government wanting to come out with a bill to clamp down on social media. How would you say press freedom has played out right in Nigeria in our setting as a democratic nation?
Like I said earlier, the political class has been most of the woe on Nigeria. The media space has not been an exemption. The journalism has, over the years, proven to know its onions because of where we are coming from. If you look at press freedom and juxtapose it with the COVID-19 coverage, you find out that the media became more freer now because of the announcements that were made by the president that the media should be allowed to work. a little recognition, and if we have not disappointed in that regard. There are less fake news about COVID-19. There are less fake news. So if we had that freedom over the years, the problem we have is the social media is unregulated. Like you said, something happens, most times it's credible. Those who have these dubious intentions are very few. Most times somebody sees, oh, the bridge is collapsing in my area, he videos it, and it draws the attention of either the government to see that this place has, without that video, you might not see it anywhere in the media until there is a letter to somebody who calls the media person to come, which might take weeks.
Exactly.
But immediately he uploads that video, the media person who has interest, oh, this bridge has collapsed, immediately he rushes to that place and talk to people, project it, government does the intervention. So we have bridged a gap. At least we've brought succor to the people. So, but if we look at the few people who come out in the social media, who some jobless young men who have been paid peanuts by political opponents to bring down somebody who is in power, if we continue to use that to set this yardstick to gag the media, it cannot work, because the Nigerian media has overwhelmed the disguise of gagging them. They cannot be gagged again. We have overwhelmed that, and we will continue to overcome any attempt to gag the media. The media has been, like I said, very, very, very resilient.
Yeah, but we have some run-ins with the media, especially had brushes with government, some government states or agencies or whatever. I want just like the issue of Kano State, for instance. When the deaths they started announcing about deaths, you saw the governor come out to say there were no deaths, whereas media has reported that there were deaths. But later they had to also come and said, okay, yes, that there are deaths now. We are calling for investigations. And you know, saw the recent case of Ebonyi, the governor of Ebonyi State, and I think the whole journalist kind of
two journalists, Son and Vanguard.
Exactly, but after that, I think the NUJ kind of blacklisted the state and all of that, but he had to come and apologize. I think they've settled the whole thing.
Yeah, that's why I said the Nigerian media, with the credibility it has over the years built, can no longer be gagged, no matter what, because the attempt to gag the media has been there from time immemorial, and it has evolved. They keep changing the strategies, and we keep overcoming them, and we will continue to overcome them, because the people are to safeguard public interest is our ultimate goal. And the public interest supersedes a tenured office that is 4 years and goes, or highest 8 years it goes, and that is because we are with the people. If you're with the people, you become too formidable for any moving train to crash.
Now, being with the people, would you say the media have actually done enough in holding the powerful accountable, like reporting activities of the people that are supposedly powerful, at the risk of whether state apparatus or personal apparatus coming after that media person individually or collectively? We've seen media houses being attacked, closed down, invaded, stuff because of one or two things they did. So would you say the media...
We have journalists who are in prison for revealing government secrets or whatever they might call it.
Well, is it professional?
It is not.
Is it professional for journalists to reveal government secrets?
The Constitution says that it's our duty to hold government accountable. So if we have said this so amount of money was siphoned, and you have an accountable process as a good leader, what you do is to just bring what he has, the evidence he has tendered in public, the court of public opinion, to say that you are corrupt, and to bring your records and the executed projects to make him a liar. And immediately that is false, proven by you, with the realities of the concrete evidence of executed project. That journalist
is at the risk of losing his job. Because there is nobody who wants to keep somebody who continue to diminish the corporate integrity that must have been built over the years. So they too have skeletons in their cupboard. That is why once some information come outside, they are jittery. So, but we should work together. We should work together to hold other people. Most times, it's not even the leaders at the top that does this corruption. So many organizations has ensured that the Freedom of Information Act does not work. You will write, they will deny you. And in Nigeria, it is difficult for the poor people to go, even if that document is a wonderful one, though there is still room for amendments to make it more people-oriented, but it is yet to achieve its purpose.
All right. One of the most trending issues now is conspiracy theory. If somebody writes stuff and they say conspiracy theory, it's becoming difficult for us to know what to believe. Like when this COVID-19 came out, we saw this issue with 3G.
5G.
I'm sorry, 5G. And then they say China did stuff in the lab. They say bat. All these things are written by journalists and all of that, being put out there, and somebody will just say a conspiracy theory. So it begins to confuse the readers. Now, what do I read? What do I believe? Where actually is the source of, what is the source of COVID-19 actually as we speak? Nobody has really been, can actually put this is it. Is it 5G? Is it a bat? Is it some lab that did? Is it a biological weapon? And it's waved aside as conspiracy theory. So how do we begin to demystify conspiracy theories as a media to come out and say yes? And who has that authority to say this is it for Nigerian media? Is it NAN? Is it Vanguard? Is it your Medium? Is it your blog? Is it my blog? How do we begin to in the midst of all this fight for information, because credible information is at the center of all of this?
Well, so about less than conspiracy theories, most of them don't come from the journalists, because if a journalist is going to investigate a matter, they come out to the real facts of what they have gotten. Like when a journalist investigates a matter and comes out to report it, he or she takes you on a journey of of the whole process. So you begin to see that this is where you begin to connect the dots. So there will be no confusion, there will be no kind of ambiguity there that you begin to ask that, is this real or not? So most of the conspiracy theories we get to find, this same set of people are people that believed in the Illuminati. Most of them were the ones that also bought the CDs to watch and believed that somehow this triangle also means that you belong to one particular cult and all of those things.
So is a media person that put it together or wrote an article or did stuff about
no,
it?
You see,
but
when you now look at these media people, that's why there is a demarcation. There is this media people for the general lesson practitioners, and then there is journalists for those that do the investigation, the reporting, and giving you the proper information. So somebody that puts up the videos together and whatever, that might just be a lesson video editor or creator that does that, but it's a media person, but not really a lesson journalist.
So should we pay attention to such people?
No, but it depends on the content he generates. If you generate a good content, okay. Another angle is in the media. You also see we tolerate opinions of people. Okay, tell me your opinion, and your opinion should fly because you are an individual, and we don't know what formed that opinion. So we also allow opinions to fly. You might be wrong or you might be right, but you've heard your opinion. So the media is a place where we get everything and we try to gatekeep to ensure that the right content, and that is why it is difficult to find out a genuine journalist who is a trade carrier of fake news. It is difficult. And anytime you say there's the Nigerian Union of Journalists, there's the Guild of Editors. These people can sanction each journalist. We are under them. The sanction I've had various journalists were suspended, and it holds water. You understand?
So what extent can these unions you mentioned now go in like checking the abuse of the media? Because it's actually giving the whole journalism a bad name. When you go, you can go to a blog and all of that. Do you those organizations have like a right or a power to like, okay, bring down this or stop this or take up somebody and litigate over what they put out because they are misinforming the public. We've seen a lot of blogs, we've seen a lot of that actually people look at them like fake news, but they are there and they're operating. And you have this union of journalists. And sometimes those people even go out with their tags to interview people like they are journalists. So what is these unions doing about these things, issues like this?
The NUJ, for instance, which I know, has instituted a committee on fake journalists, which I am a member. We are working with the Nigerian Press Council to give it strength. You understand? Over the years, it's a process. Before we could swing into action properly, COVID-19 came and slowed down the pace with some other issues over the time. So the truth is, we know ourselves. The media is a small space. It's not too bogus like the conventional industry. Most times we know ourselves. And those who are infiltrating the ranks, it will not take so much time. We know where to fish them out. We know where to fish them out. And we have gotten the cooperation with the security agencies so that immediately they are fished out, we take them to court and follow the process, ensure that they are tried and face the consequences of their actions.
Especially when they are writing negatively. What about if they are on their own, they are just promoting values, they are promoting norms, but they are not the conventional, they are not like registered or conventional?
The truth is, if you have, our constitution in fact makes it open. It says that if you can publish articles on your own and disseminate.
Okay.
So you have that constitutional
right
okay, to do it for yourself. So far it is not against public interest. And if you do it against public interest, that is when it now becomes contrary to the views of the union. Okay. If you bring out genuine information that will help, like we've talked about a situation where a rural community has maybe a bridge collapsed and somebody uploads it, the credible journalist now sees it. That person has done community journalism and it has strengthened the conventional journalism to report credibly. Okay. Because he aided his own report with pictures, graphics, visual that will help you believe the credibility of his. But most of these people who churn out fake news, what they do is they concoct something which has happened before, bring it with something which has happened elsewhere, rope all of them together and push it out.
All right.
And we have, okay, to talk about the hate speech bill, we have laws that has been on ground that check defamation, libel and slander.
Yes.
They all check. Immediately you publish. Now, publishing is now very easier with the Facebook. Immediately it comes to Facebook, which is an international publication. So you have published. So you can sue if anybody comes out to publish anything defamatory about any position you held. If I have said this is what is happening, and you now come to say it is this,
exactly,
it means that you want to portray me as who I am not, misrepresent my intention. Except you apologize to say, oh, sorry, I did not do it consciously. Then if I accept your sorry, good. But if I still feel it is actionable, I can take you to court. And it will serve a deterrent to those who
now, finally, I was watching an event of during the World Health. And I think in one of the media houses, somebody was advocating that as much as government is paying specific attention to health workers who are in the front line in the fight against COVID-19, journalists as well who report COVID-19, who go to the field, who go to situations and bring back, that they should also be taken care of. Now, do you think the government has actually taken care of journalists, especially within this COVID-19 situation? Do you have journalists represented in what do they call PTF? Yes, in such decision-making organizations at whatever levels. Do you have journalists included? Is it all inclusive? Are they being cared about? The danger they face in going out every day to face the COVID-19, because they are even more vulnerable in their work and all of that. So, do you think is all encompassing. Both of you can react to that. Victor, you say your own then.
No, basically, to even begin with, the Less Ambitious Task Force wasn't. It is not all inclusive. It's basically mostly made of less than politicians and a few medical doctors. But then, like you said, there are no journalists, nobody from the CSO movements also on that board. And then we also have to look. It also because it caused a concern because just yesterday, on the 3rd was when we celebrated the World Press Freedom Day, and then it was actually made known that since this COVID-19 started, we've lost 55 journalists to the and to this virus. So that's also
globally.
Yes.
Globally.
So that also gives to say that as much as the health workers are also in the line of duty, we are also in the line of duty because we definitely had to go out there, get the report. So every day going out also exposes us at the risk of getting this virus as well.
So has the government done enough, or should they begin to think in that? Is it kind of a new way of, okay, let's think about this group of people?
Yeah, they have less than certainly done enough. So it will be very welcome if they begin to think positively towards the side of these journalists as well. See how to carry them along. And
special packages like you have for special insurance package for journalists and all of that. Should we be advocating for things like that?
No, I might not, because when you look at those health workers that they're giving special insurance, they are mostly people in the employ of the government.
But should it be? We're talking about ideal situation, right?
Yeah, it should.
They are Nigerians. You are Nigerian.
I think journalists should be insured. The security operatives should be insured. Who are the front line?
Yes.
Yeah, they should. The truth is the average Nigerian journalist is passionate about his job, and immediately he takes instructions from the boss, he wants to go to the latter to ensure that those instructions are executed. And at times you might be caught up in between. We've had journalists who have died. Dedicate a fund for media practice. The media is a very large space, especially journalism, who are at the forefront of the media practice. A fund for where media owners can tap into and resuscitate their organization so that it will be standardized and ensure that staff salaries are paid as at when due, and ensure that equipment are updated whenever the need arises, and it will create a robust environment for the media to thrive. But when the media industry is funds starved and they are trying to manage to survive, you find out that is when it will now seem as if government has made them vulnerable, so that when they throw peanut to them, they rush to them and play their bidding. But over the years, we found out that since the emergence of the private sectors, the private television outfits, from the time of President Babangida, the head of state, when the media space was liberalized, you find out that since then, information has not been as secretive as government operation has not been as secretive as it used to be. It has been liberal, and it is the product of journalists who have dedicated their life to work and who have ensured that Nigeria is liberated.
All right, thank you so much. I hope a lot of government officials, policymakers are actually watching this, and even if they are not watching, if you are close to any of them, please take some of these resolutions to them that please they need to pay attention to journalists. They are as much as vulnerable to exit of the ring. It should be made attractive as possible. Government should come and partner with private medias, do everything, provide a very, very enabling environment for the media to thrive. But because we need the media, we need to know. They need to know, they need to know, they need to know can never be taken out of the society. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. I've been talking with Victor Temba and also Chukwumanze, who is the convener of the Young Journalists Forum right here in Abuja. Thank you so much for joining us. And also thank you out there for being a part of this COVID-19 situation room on Television Nigerian. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Let's do this again tomorrow. Bye for now. I am Charles Ide.